welcome back. Another episode of Channel 914. I'm your host, as always, Rel Allen, coming to you solo once again. I'm going to try to do more of these, man. This is how I started, and I kind of got off into the interviews really heavy. And I love doing interviews, man. I really do. I love the conversations that I have with people. A lot of the people that I brought on are like just really good personal friends of mine. And it's been interesting to ask them questions about their lives and what they're doing and get to know them in ways that I didn't know them before. But, you know, I be having thoughts, man. I be having thoughts that I be wanting to get off to the people. So I'm just going to incorporate this a little bit more. So just be prepared to see just me a little bit more sometimes, man. You know, hope y'all dig it. And if not, hey, man, it's my shit. I'm going to do what I want to do anyway. But I hope y'all dig it, man, no, for real. And I today, I want to talk about something that has been interesting to me, and to watch how this particular thing affects people, affects their lives, affects their thoughts, affects their behaviors. Everybody looks at it differently. Everybody values it differently. But it's just really interesting to look at how people deal with money, and how it makes them act in certain ways. Like I said, everybody looks at it differently. Everybody places a different value on it. For some people, man, it's just a thing. And for some people, it's everything, right? They can't live without it. They got to have it, and they got to have it in excess, right? A great urban philosopher by the name of Method Man once said, "Cash rules everything around me. Cream get the money. Dollar bill, y'all." Right? That video, if you don't know what I'm talking about Cream. If you ain't heard that by now, I mean, it's fucking Wu-Tang Clan. You had to have been under a rock for your whole life. And your daddy and your mama had to have been under a rock pretty much. I mean, this is one of the most famous songs and one of the most famous choruses in the history of music, right? That video was released January 31st, 1994. I was 11 years old when that dropped, man. And it was off the album 36 Chambers, which actually came out in 1993. But when Cream came out, that's when the Wu really, really took off, man. That song, that chorus is something that still gets played often to this day. And that iconic phrase, "Cash rules everything around me." And me as an 11-year-old, I don't really know what that means at the time. I just think it sounds cool, right? Obviously, as an adult, I definitely now understand just how money rules the world, how it manipulates people, how it changes people, how it affects people's behavior. I mean, people sometimes would do anything for it, man. People rob, steal, kill for money. For some people, it really doesn't mean much. Ironically, a lot of the people, that money doesn't mean much to, they have a lot of it, right? And a lot of people that covet it so much struggle to keep it. It's crazy how that works, man. That's just how life can be sometimes. But what is money, man? When did this start? Where did it come from? Did we always have money? Was there always dollar bills floating around the world? So obviously, no, that's not the fucking case. So in the earliest days of civilization, it was just about bartering, right? Bartering means trading, for those of you that don't know. But, all right, let's just say you had something that I needed, and I got something that you need. Then we would trade, right? I give you some of what I got, you give me some of what you got, and this is how we survived, right? As a people, as a human civilization, right? This is how it was done everywhere. there was no actual money, right? It was just based on what you had, and what the needs of others, and what you have may not mean something or anything to somebody else, but if it means something to one person, then you have something that you can trade with somebody, and that's just how the world worked, right? Soon after that, civilization would move into commodities, right? Commodities came in the form of like livestock, spices, things like cattle, sheep. The main thing was cattle and salt. Basically, beef was one of the main things that people ate, and salt was very, very coveted. Man, it was preservative. It was a spice. It was something that people used to keep their meat preserved after they slaughtered it. We always have refrigerators and freezers. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, so they had to pack it in salt to keep it fresh. So that made salt very, very valuable. So people would use those as commodities to buy things and to purchase things. In about the 7th century BC is where we started to see the first coins that resemble like what we use today. Those were primarily made out of gold and silver. And this was due to their rarity, beauty, immunity to corrosion, and their economic value. But it also has some religious parts to it as well. Babylonian priests are knowledgeable in astrology and alchemy, taught the people the close relationship between gold and the sun and silver and the moon, right? And this led to people believing that these elements had magical powers, and people that held them and had objects made of them could wield those powers. And this is how gold and silver really became the valuable precious metals that they are today. I mean, even right now, to this day, gold is one of the most valuable metals that you can possess. Really doesn't do a whole lot, but it's just held in such high regard to the point where most currencies around the world, or pretty much all currencies around the world, are backed by gold. Except for us, except we used to be backed by gold in the Federal Reserve, but Nixon took us away from it. It's a whole other story. If you're interested in that, man, go research how President Nixon moved us away from the gold standard. It's a pretty interesting story. But so you go to precious metals, right? So where do we go from the metals and the coins to paper? Interesting story. So in same around like middle civilization, in the Middle Ages, excuse me, you had people that would accumulate nice amounts of gold, your nobles, your royalty, and they would trade with other people, other merchants, people of nobility, but they couldn't travel with all of that gold all the time, right? They were subject to marauders, people that didn't have, and they could be ransacked on the trail to travel to try to purchase goods by people that wanted to steal from them. So what ended up happening was they would keep their gold with the goldsmith, and the goldsmith would give them a note, guarantee of how much gold they had. So let's just say they wanted to go purchase something from somebody, and the cost was 3 gold bars. Then they would take this note from the goldsmith saying, hey, this is guaranteed for 3 gold bars. They would give that note to the person, and now that person has the guarantee of 3 gold bars. And this is where money and banking, for that matter, started, right? Just the same principle. The bank holds your money, the Federal Reserve holds your money. It's supposed to be guaranteed, backed by something. But like I said, Nixon moved us away from the gold standard. But most places, most countries, money is still backed by gold, by some sort of commodity, something of value, right? So you're not just supposed to be able to print it and just, it is what you say it is. Even though that's kind of what we do here, which is really fucking weird, and it's also kind of why the dollar is suffering. But like I said, I'm not a expert in economics. I can't tell you the whole deal, just what I've read, but I do know what I told you is accurate, right? So that's how we got to the paper, man. This is how we get to the dollars, the cream that so many people, so many of us covet so heavily. So much to the point where we look down on people that don't have it. It's like broke is a real four-letter word, man. Nobody wants to be associated with it. Nobody wants to be looked at as not having it. Nobody wants to be poor. And it, especially in this day and age of social media, it seems like people will do anything to create this image of having money. A lot of times to their own detriment. They'll spend so much money trying to look like they have money that they won't actually have any money once they're all done. It's a really interesting thing. I've never really been too pressed to look like it. I more so just want to have it. I haven't always had it, and I'm not going to sit here and act like I got a lot of money now. Shit, so I'm like Mitch, man. I'm broke. I ain't got no money. But it really is interesting to see what people will do, and how people think that money is the answer to all of their problems. If you talk to people that actually have money, and you have people that maybe didn't have so much money growing up, and then they were able to accumulate a nice amount of money. Oh yeah, it definitely, alleviates some of their problems. I mean, you can go buy food whenever you want. You can buy really nice food. You can have nice cars. You can have nice clothes. Certain people that maybe didn't talk to you before wouldn't give you the time of day. You know what I'm saying? Now they're hitting you up, asking what you're doing, saying you look cute. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff, man. I mean, money can definitely change your life. That's for sure. But it's not going to heal you, right? And that's what happens to a lot of people where, and this is based off people that I know, personal experience, man, and just things that I've read. You spend so much time going to get it, and you think that once you get to a certain point, then you're going to be happy. And you get there, and you get what you thought you wanted, and then you're still not happy. And a lot of times, man, the fact that you got to this thing that you knew was just going to take all your problems away, and it doesn't, in turn, even makes you more depressed than it already has, man. That's why you see a lot of people with all the money in the world committing suicide. And the first thing a lot of people will say when that happens is, damn, it just seemed like he had everything going on for him. He or she, they just had everything going on for him. They had so much money, got a great job, great career, all this stuff. Why were they still sad? It's because money ain't everything, man. Money isn't going to heal whatever is going on inside you. But definitely can make life a little bit more easier. But it's also the importance of having it. What's equally important, in my eyes at least, is how you get it. And that changes from person to person, right? What some people do or won't do, other people will. They won't have a problem with it. I saw an interview today. There was a young woman, she was about 25 years old, and she had the OnlyFans page doing sexual content, right? And she's making a lot of money from it, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, a lot of those people on OnlyFans, if your channel's doing well, you can make a lot of money pretty fast. So the interviewer was just asking her, so like, you're young now, but you want children, right? And she said yes. So he was like, so you're not worried about, when your kids get older and them being able to look up and see, this is what you were doing, this is how you made your money? And her answer was, well, shit, they can go cry in a Ferrari. I mean, that's a valid answer, right? That's not one that I would give. I'm also not about to be out here doing OnlyFans, but it kind of just shows you what she values. Now, her being 25 now, that could change later on. Once she realizes a few things, and once a few years goes by, and I mean, a lot of times as you get older, your views change. The things that you valued may be different. So that could change for her. But as of right now, she don't give no fuck about them future kids and what they think, what they're going to think. They just care about the money. It was interesting because I saw a clip of Kim Kardashian talking about her children and what Kanye has said and done will be way more detrimental to them than her tape ever was or ever would be. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I agree with that wholeheartedly, but I mean, to be quite honest with you, that's how Kim Kardashian really got on. It was through that sex tape, which was, they kind of tried to make it seem like it was leaked. That shit wasn't leaked, right? She struck a deal for it. It happened. They made it with the intention. That's how she got on, right? Now, obviously, she's done way more since then, in terms of like television and fashion and all that other stuff. Her whole empire hasn't been based off of pornography. But that's really how it started. And I'm not sure as a kid what's going to be worse. Them looking up and being able to see that their father said some pretty wild stuff, and Kanye has said some wild shit. Or you can do a search for your mom and you can just see your mother having sex on camera with fucking Ray J. I'm going to go on a limb and say the fucking Ray J on camera is worse. I mean, I don't know. I just wouldn't even want to think about that. I'm just glad that my mama is a great, wholesome woman. But yeah, man, it made her rich. But the fact that she said that, to me at least, lets me know or gives me the indication, because I can't say for sure, I'm not inside her head, but it gives me the indication that maybe that bothers her a little bit. Maybe how she got on doesn't sit right with her. To the point where why would you have to quantify it? How detrimental it would or could be to your children, right? But I'm sure Kim Kardashian was in her early 20s when that came out. Is your 21-year-old brain thinking the same as your 40-year-old brain? I hope not. I hope you may have learned some things between 20 and 40 that may make you have a different perspective. So, revisionist history, man. Hindsight is 20/20, but some things can't be undone. So you may have this money, but how you got it can really affect how you look at yourself, how you view yourself, how you feel about yourself. So, like I said, man, money is just isn't everything. Us as a community, and I'm going to speak specifically to black people right now because, newsflash, I'm black, right? We have a very interesting relationship when it comes to money. I feel like in our culture, especially now, we place such a high value and importance on having money, having the access to money, being able to flash your money, being able to tell people that you have money, being able to make fun of people that don't have money. You know what I'm saying? Like I said before, man, broke is a four-letter word, man. Don't nobody want to be associated with that at all. And to the point where people will flat out lie and do things to their own detriment just to give the appearance that they have money. So let's talk about money as a community, right? What do we have? So as of 2021, the median black household in this country the median black household income in this country as of 2021 was $46,000. So in median household income, it just means that half of the black people in this country make below $46,000. Half of that black households in this country are above 46 grand, right? 52% of black households earn less than $50,000. And these are not individuals, these are whole households, right? And while 48% make $50,000 or more, 3 in 10 black households, 31%, make $75,000 or more, and 20% of that 31% make $100,000 or more. Now, 100,000 is kind of like that mythical number that everybody wants to get to. Everybody thinks that, once you get to 6 figures, then like you have access to this other lifestyle that, newsflash, nigga, it ain't that much. But it is something, and you can definitely live pretty decent with that amount of money. But just because you make it doesn't mean you keep it. And how you spend and allocate your money is just as, if not more important than how much you make. Because it's real easy to spend $100,000. And also, there's that little thing called taxes that, so a lot of that's going to be gone. But so now you know the numbers about how much black people make generally in this country, right? But it's also been reported that black Americans have $1.4 trillion in spending power in this country, right? According to a Nielsen's report in 2019, black Americans are 20% more likely than the total population to say that they will pay extra for a product that is consistent with the image that they want to convey. So this is what people are telling you, right? And these are just the people that are surveyed, but it's kind of indicative to what we see. A lot of people just want to look like they have it, to the point where they're willing to go above and beyond what they actually may even have to look like they have it. This is why you see so many people with, your Gucci belts, your Chanel bags, the Birkin bag or whatever it is, man. There's so many of these name brand items and these logos that people want, then they may not actually really be able to afford. You'll see somebody, man, just going all out to get a belt, right? But that belt makes them feel like they belong somewhere. Makes them feel like they are of a certain status. Makes them feel better about themselves. It can. So that's not to say that, if you work at Walmart, you don't deserve a fucking Gucci belt. You can spend your money however you choose. But it's just to be mindful of, maybe you should hold off on that and try to use your money in more useful ways. But that all depends on the person and what you think and what you value. But what the numbers say and what the research says is that us as black people in this country value image over most things. So, but in that spending power and us valuing our image, Nielsen's research also shows that black consumers are tastemakers when it comes to setting the tone for mainstream brand choices. Shows that black consumer choices have a cool factor that's created a halo effect, influencing not just consumers of color, but the mainstream as well. All right, we all know that, right? We all know that we set the trends, right? We made Gucci belts cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many people got Gucci flip-flops after Future made that song? Shit, I even got a pair of fucking Gucci flip-flops, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, we definitely set the bar in terms of what's cool, what people want to buy. But we do that largely as consumers, not creators of the product, right? So most of that we have, that money that we have, that spending power, goes out of the community. It doesn't stay within. But that's also another issue, another bag of worms, man, that we're not gonna go into today. But it's based on the person, based on what they want, based on what they value. I've never been the type of person that just wanted to look more so like they had a lot of money. I'm never going to be out here looking dusty, right? I've always wanted to look presentable. I've always wanted to look clean. I've always wanted to look like, I was together. Never wanted to look disheveled. I don't want to look poor, you know what I'm saying? But I never wanted to. I never used to go out. I was never the type of person to go out of my way to buy something expensive just because people know it's expensive, right? But that's where I place my value. Money hasn't always been easy to come by for me. I'm not even gonna sit here and say it's easy to come by now. But it's something that I've definitely struggled with in my life. I would say there's a difference in how I live now and how I used to live, right? I remember being in my 20s, man, late 20s, and even into my 30s, and life was a struggle financially. I remember in my early 20s, man, I was doing really well. Had a lot of money saved up, man, and then I decided I was going to go back to school. Took my savings, man, put it all into that, and came back home in 2008, just in time for the recession. And I couldn't get a job, man, for about a year. I just had a baby, and I just kind of fell flat on my face. And it took me a while to recover from that, financially, but more so mentally. Being broke, so to speak, not having money, it caused me to not really value myself or think that I had much value. Definitely with men in society, and we see this a lot today, a lot of what we place in terms of value in ourselves is based on our ability to provide, which translates into how much money we have, how we're doing financially. And because I struggled for some years, it caused me to not view myself in a very favorable light. Ironically, it wasn't until I started to look at myself differently and not place so much value on what I had financially is when more money started to come. And even now, as I've, advanced myself and advanced in my career and, gotten things off the ground, it is the change of mindset and how I looked at and how I viewed money, which I think has helped me. Now, I'm still not where I need to be, or where I want to be, I should say. But I've come a very, very long way. But it's not because of money. It's not because of what I have. It's because of who I am. It's that saying goes, man, it ain't what's on you, it's what's in you. And I've been able to use what's in me to further my life and do it in a way where I know I can look at myself in the mirror and say I haven't compromised myself, I ain't compromised my values, I ain't brought no shame to my family. And I want to be able to continue to do that. Even through this, I started this, and all I ever wanted to do was bring some value and some positive energy, man, to the ecosystem. I see what we see on the internet and all like just the ratchet kind of just, for lack of a better word, bullshit, man. That's out there. There are a lot of podcasts, man, that are really out there doing great things, that do good work. A lot of them here in Chicago, you know what I'm saying? We got the Easily Offended podcast also, Corner Convo, man, people like that. They're really doing good work, really trying to produce quality content. But we all know there's also a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of people out here that are doing things just to go viral, doing things just for clicks and views, because people think that going viral translates automatically into dollars, which is not the case. But I never wanted to fall into that. Now, obviously, do I want to make money from this? Fucking right I do. You know, I mean, but that's not why I'm doing it. I'm not doing this specifically for money. I'm doing this because I have a passion for it. I believe I have something to add to the world. I believe I have something of value. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy interviewing. I enjoy doing these things. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to give something to the world. And if people like it, they consume it. And if money comes from that, that's awesome. I mean, don't get it twisted. I do want the money, right? So don't sit here and act like, you know, if you want to, if somebody wants to give me some money for this, please do. You know, I'm not going to turn it down. But like I said, it's not my number one goal. And I feel like doing that keeps me in a good place. It keeps me grounded. It keeps me able to look at myself in the mirror and not having to wonder if I've compromised myself in any way for $1. And for me personally, that's more important. It's hard to be that way in this world, especially in the age of capitalism, because there's just so much emphasis placed on money. And you do need it to live, right? Let's not get it twisted, man. Being poor is not fun. Being poor is hard. Not being able to provide for yourself, not being able to provide for your family, places a lot of stress on you. Can place the stress on a lot of people around you. I remember there were times where, I don't know, when you would go to, like, if you ever, people have ever done this, right? You would go to the gas pump and you would swipe your card and they would only take $1 out and the actual amount that you pumped wouldn't come out till a few days later. Well, I used to depend on that. Like, I got to make it, man. It's Wednesday and I ain't got no money for real. And I need to be able to put gas in my car. And so I'm going to swipe this card and I'm going to pray to God that money don't come out before Friday when I get paid. That's stressful. That's not a fun way to live, right? I sleep a lot easier now knowing that when I go to the pump, I can just swipe the shit and the money's going to be there and it's going to come out, right? But that peace of mind isn't the same if you're doing it, if you're getting the money compromising yourself. So I'm not on a pedestal, man. I don't have it all figured out. I ain't got all the money in the world. I'm not rich. I'm just able to take care of myself. I'm able to provide for my kid. Maybe take a vacation here and there. You know what I'm saying? But I can look at myself in the mirror, and that's really what I value more than anything. So as a society, I think that maybe we should come to terms with how we view ourselves and when it comes to money and how we view people that don't have it. And especially within our culture, the way we borderline vilify poor people in our music, in TV, you know what I'm saying, like on the internet, like you just see the way people talk about those that have not, to the point where there's just so much pressure where people live above their means, man. You even see it, for me, I see it a lot in these prom send-offs, right? There is so much pressure to look like you have some money that people are going way, way overboard. You know what I'm saying? Sending their teenagers off in like Rolls Royces and Lamborghinis and all types of other shit. And it's just like, yo, I mean, if you got it, man, by all means, you know, spend your money, man. Like, I don't like to count anybody's pockets for them, man. What you got is what you got, and you earned your money. You spend it on whatever you choose. But it's just something about that don't seem right to me, man. If you really are going above your means and compromising yourself and borrowing money or taking out money, man. I mean, there are people that do all types of shit, payday loans, maxing out credit cards, all types of other stuff that's in the long run going to be to your detriment just to look good in the moment. And what is it really worth, right? That moment is going to be come and gone. Shit, those bills are forever. You know what I'm saying? You can fuck your credit up, and man, trust me, it takes a long time to get that shit back right, man. If you don't value your money and spend it wisely. But I think like a lot of that, people doing that is just based on the pressure that society puts on us in this commercial economy, in this consumer economy, I should say, where everything is based on consumption and what you have. And with the gap between the rich and the poor being wider than it's ever really been, at the end of the day, most of us really don't have much. So many of us are a couple of checks away from being in a pretty fucked up position ourselves, right? You could be up one day, something could happen, you could lose your job, you can get sick, God knows how many things that can happen. And then all of a sudden you're looking up and that once comfortable lifestyle you were living is no longer there. And you could find yourself living the very life that you looked down so heavily upon at one point. So just, if you got it, man, cherish it, value it, spend it wisely. If you don't have it, it's not the end of the world. Continue to believe in yourself, build in yourself, and you can get it. It ain't easy. Things don't happen overnight all the time. We live in a world right now where so many things are based on instant gratification and, things happening very quickly, instant success. But a lot of that's fantasy. It's not reality. And it's something that could lead you to do something for a quick fix that a lot of people end up regretting. I'm going to close with this, man. I went to go see this comedian, man, Gerard Carmichael. This was about last year sometime. Really funny dude, if y'all not up on him, man. Very, very, very. He had a show called a Gerard Carmichael Show. I think it was on NBC a few years ago. Man, it was hilarious. But he came out as gay a few years ago and kind of shook up the world a little bit, or his world, most so to speak. And he's obviously made a lot of money. He's doing very well for himself. So I went to go see this show, and it's not what I expected. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, there was definitely some funny moments, but it really ended up being like a therapy session for him, right? And in most of the show, all he really talked about was how he had made all this money and he's still fucked up in the head. He still has all of these problems. He's still sad, still suffers from depression. He goes to see his therapist like 3-4 times a week. So a lot of that money is going to therapy. And it's just one of those things where, like, you thought that the money was just going to take all the pain away. You know, when you grow up poor, when you grow up without having it, and then you have more money than you ever thought you would ever see in your life, more money than you can count, more money than you can dream of. And then all that pain is still there. And it actually ends up making the pain worse. So to hear him say that and to hear him talk about it in detail really put some things in perspective for me and how I look at money and how I view the world when it comes to that. So just let you know, man, it's not everything. It's definitely something. Don't act like money ain't nothing. It's very important. Like I said, if you don't work, you don't eat. Gotta have money to live. But don't place so much value on it that you end up compromising yourself. And don't think that just because you have it, then all your problems are going to go away. You'd be sadly fucking mistaken. But yeah, man, that's going to do it for me on this episode. It's been almost a year, man. Today is the 8th. This will be out tomorrow, actually. And yeah, I started this on Father's Day last year, and next week is Father's Day. It's been a journey. I've learned a lot. There's been a lot that's happened during this time. For me personally, you know, good and bad. I'm so thankful to all the people that have come on my platform and talked with me and shared their stories and talked about their lives. Thankful for my kid who's come on here a few times, man, and we've had a good time doing this. Producing content isn't easy, man. Getting on this camera and talking and finding things to talk about, especially on a consistent basis, is definitely not easy. But it can be very, very gratifying. So all my other content creators out there doing the thing, man, continue to do it. And for all the people that have supported me, thank you so much. And this has been a very interesting 365 days, that's for sure. But we're going to keep rocking, and we're going to do it for another 365 and another 365 after that. And we're going to keep it moving, man. And as I always say, there's so much content out there. So if you ever take the time to view mine, I just always want to express my utmost gratitude and just say thank you, because you don't have to. Continue to like, subscribe, share, tell your people about it, man. And I'm going to continue just trying to do this and produce some halfway decent content. All right? So until next time, peace.